Yo, 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 what's good, man? For the people who don't know what's going on, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Badran, and I am the CEO and founder of Creative Currency, a local DFW boutique PR, brand management, and events production agency. I also work for several labels, including Def Jam as a regional promotions manager, and a lot of fun other things, but nice and happy to be here.
Okay. Now, you said a lot. Like, you do a lot. Like, I've definitely been seeing you around the city. You've been doing your thing, definitely bringing a lot of big-time artists here, handling their marketing and promotions. Like, First of all, I want to know, what made you choose Dallas and what made you jump into the music business?
That's a good question. I don't feel like I chose Dallas. I think Dallas chose me personally. So I actually migrated to the States from the Philippines when I was 8 years old, and we planted, I don't know why my family chose Dallas, but they did. And I grew up in Plano, and I don't know, Dallas it's a beautiful city, and I never thought I could thrive the way that I did. I always thought I had to move out and go to LA to win and to see how the city has grown, and that I've been able to grow my career, and with it has really been a beautiful thing. But what was the second question?
How did you get your start in music?
Oh, how did I get my start in music? Okay, that's a good question as well. So I was a kid who was always fascinated about the entertainment industry. I knew at a really young age that I just loved everything about it. I was that kid who would watch shows like TRL and 106 in Park and all the award shows you could think of, and I would just be really fascinated with how everything worked. Like, how do they get all the people there? How do the celebrities do all these performances? And I would be asking those type of questions. So when I was kind of evolving and wanting to pick a career, I also stumbled on the PR side of things. I loved writing. I loved talking to people. I loved I grew up in a really big family, so we always loved entertaining. And if you know anything about Filipino culture, we love to sing and dance and just be out there. And so, it just I just always knew from a really young age I wanted to be in entertainment, and I just stuck with it and followed it.
Okay. Now, when does Def Jam come into play? Like, did you just start off as an intern, or how did that work?
Yeah. I've taken a really interesting, non-traditional journey to get to where I'm at. I always thought it was going to be a more direct pathway, but I've gone every which way direction, and I'm kind of happy that it worked out that way because it really gave me a really well-rounded experience on all facets. But I actually got my first start working for a label in my early 20s. I worked for a subsidiary of Universal Music Group that's actually based out of here. I don't think they exist anymore, but they were called Executive Music Group. But I learned a lot. I got to be a production manager, and I was doing everything that you could think of, from a logistics, kind of a lot of admin work that you don't know that goes on into getting the music's into the streaming stores and running merch stores, and I was also doing some booking for festivals like South by and all the Texas festivals for this label. So it was really cool because it was a smaller boutique label. I got to handle a lot of different moving parts, but I've always kind of made a bid throughout the years to work at different labels, and it kind of didn't work out until recently. At the end of 2019, I actually got referred into the job at Def Jam. So that was really exciting to I always thought that I was gonna have to apply, and to kind of just get sanctioned into the position was really cool. I've been with them for going on almost 4 years.
Okay. Now, you said exclusive records. Exclusive. What was the
Executive Music
Group? Okay. Now, what artists were on that? Because it sounds familiar, but I don't know if I'm really familiar. What artists were on that? Was on that label?
Man, they had the most random group. I probably would say the most recognizable name you probably know would be Jamiroquai. I don't know.
Jamiroquai.
Yeah, see, exactly. So they had a lot of people who were popular on American Idol at the time that got record deals past that, and then it was just such random people. There was actually a rock group that's still pretty consistent. They had somebody from Sublime on it, and they're called the Dirty Heads, and they actually got the first #1 on the rock charts that from a Dallas label that had ever existed. So that was like something we accomplished in that time, and yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to take it to like from the label side of things for artists, because I know a lot of artists. I deal with a lot of artists myself, but a lot of artists just feel like they can put out a good song, a label's just gonna pick them up, and they're gonna get signed for $1 million or however many millions they think they go get from a single. Like, can we talk about like how that actually works from your side and your perspective?
For sure. I mean, I think I was the same way. I was part of that generation who kind of thought that that's how it worked and that's how they packaged it out to look like it would be. But I think after really working with these labels and getting underneath on the business side of things and finding out how their structure works, like if I could advise anything, everything that you think the music industry is and how it works, it's not. Like, it just isn't. There's, so much red tape, so much politics that goes into it. And honestly, if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get screwed in a major way. It's just like, it's built to screw over artists, essentially. So you have to be really smart and educate yourself on the game, and just know that it's completely different than what you think it is now. It's,
Point blank period.
Point blank period.
So let's say I'm a buzzing artist. I have my own. I have a team. I have my own merch. My record is doing okay by itself. I might be averaging 100,000 streams a month, or monthly listeners. Like, do I have what it takes for a label to pick me up?
Yeah. Actually, I think those are a lot of key things that labels are looking for right now. I would suggest, some of the main things is that I always advise in these situations is just building leverage for yourself, because the art of finding somebody who's just raw and like at the beginning of their career, and just even if how talented or cool they might seem or different they might seem, the industry is just built differently now. Like, most labels want to sign and catch on something that's already moving. So I think the best thing that you could do as an independent artist is just build as much leverage as possible. And yeah, it really is a numbers game. I talked to several A&Rs, and they're looking at a variety of factors. They're looking at streams, they're looking at YouTube views, they're looking at, who's specifically co-signing you in your city and in the industry, how you move, how you package yourself. Just a lot of several factors that goes into it that, what am I trying to say?
Basically, have your shit together. Fellas.
Yeah, basically have your shit together.
Like, and a lot of artists, I feel like, so like, when my next question is, because you said like they're not really looking for talent anymore, and I really feel like it's been that way for a while. I feel like it's kind of like labels really don't know what's hot until it's in their face. Like, it's undeniable, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but being as though like, and let me ask you this, because I feel like hip hop is going to a different place right now, like especially with all the violence and incarcerations and stuff like that. Does that play a part in labels wanting to deal with you?
That's a good question. I mean, I think in hip hop in general, like, it's kind of unfortunately ingrained in the culture. So I don't know if like you having a record is really an issue. Like, I mean, I don't want to put this artist out there. I probably won't say the name, but we, like, for example, we do have one artist on Def Jam that, like, he's picking up steam, but like every time we try to make moves with him, he's always in and out, of the pin, you'd like to say. But, and that like halts a lot of our efforts. Like, like there's like certain things we can't do because they can't leave the state, or, they have to go to court. And so like, I think, from a business investment standpoint, that's something like me personally, if I were, representing the label in that sense to select an artist, like I would want to pick somebody who I know is, not straight edged essentially, because like that's...
Everybody get into trouble.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Hip hop more than others, I feel like. Rap more than others.
Yeah, but more so just like brandable and has like me personally, I like to work with people who have a good message, has a fairly clean image, and someone I could position as like a leader, you know, that like would be a good influence to the youth, because I just feel like that's so important in our culture today, and like people like are stepping away from remembering that, like how much influence we have on the youth. And you see it, like, you know, I was walking around the shops at Legacy, and I was talking to these kids, and they were just like rapping to each other, and I was like, we were just having fun with each other and just like recording them and like say a little rap to us, and they were just saying the most vulgar things that I was just like, dang, is this how the rappers are influencing our youth right now? Because I'm scared, like. Man, so
that's crazy. I seen a post go viral on social media the other day. A mom, she found her 8-year-old son's music. And she grounded him for 2 weeks after hearing the lyrics.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's crazy. Now, let me ask you this. What will make a label shelf you?
A lot of things. And that's a really other good point that I always try to make for artists. So a lot of people think as soon as you get the deal, even if you have all those amazing things working for you, like, you know, you're good, you're done, you got the money, you got the support, everything's fine. Like, that's just step one. Like, you have to almost operate like you still don't have that label deal. And because it's really easy to get shelved. Like, again, all these labels are starting to move into this new structure where they're signing a lot of artists and labels and doing joint venture deals. And so it's like, basically like, labels have taken the standpoint of like, let's try to sign as many hot artists that have like a little bit of traction, get them underneath our distribution, just so we can like make money as they're promoting and streaming. Even though we don't really give them as much support as they need, we're gonna let them do the work. And, you know, once it's really hot and they need an extra boost, maybe we'll step in. But that's where I really advise that it's not even about getting the deal anymore, but having the right key people in the building that will look out for you. Because it's just so many people are getting shelved. There's like a tier of priority. You got, you know, your legacy acts and like the main staple artists that pretty much get all the budget and all of the attention. And, you know, most of these labels, like, although they have all these departments that are like working in favor and tandem with each other for the artists, like, I just see it all the time. Because when I first got with Def Jam, a lot of what they had me doing was building a lot of our regional artists, you know, acts like Bobby Sessions and Cash Page and just some of our more like bubbling artists. But I was almost having to like really fight and advocate for them within the building to really get them the money and the attention and the work. And I had to almost step up on my end to really, like, I was just like, they're signed, like, why aren't they, you know, getting this attention and love that they're supposed to get? Like, I thought that's the point. And like, everybody thinks it's this big glamorous bow and everything works out for itself easily, but you know,
you're still fighting once you get
you're
in the
still
door.
fighting for, like, you know, the team's attention in a lot of those ways. So I've seen a lot of artists go through the system, they get excited, they announce it, they get the city behind their back, and it's just like crickets for years, you know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of, like, once you get into the label system, there's a lot of like levels of approval, from your content to your music to the rollout to the dates that you have to go through and get approval from every single level before something can go out. And
okay, so wow, so even the content that they post on their own social media is pretty much controlled by the label.
Sometimes, like, if it has to do with like promoting a new project, like those release dates are really like key and stuff like that. So if it's a content that they make internally, or like that you utilize your marketing budget within the label for, then yeah, they're gonna control when that comes
So
out.
basically nothing pertaining to their music they can really just put out without approval, the right approval.
No, because now when you sign a deal, like, you know, they control when your music goes out, essentially, because they're, you know, part owners of it, essentially. So yeah, when you're honestly, there's so many deals though, so it really depends on what type of deal you could probably release a song on your own, but like normally nowadays most artists are signing into deals for either for a certain amount of tracks or a certain amount of albums. So if you're still within that deal and every song is considered within that deal, then yeah, they're gonna control when you can put it out and when you can drop the content around that.
Okay. Now I want to. You mentioned Bobby Sessions and Cash Page, and we're gonna go back to that. But I want to ask you, like, what do you think is a ideal deal for an indie artist right now looking to partner up with a label? Like, what's a good, like? I know every deal is different, like you said, but like, what would be like an ideal structure of a deal like that artist should like? Okay, this is a pretty good deal you're getting here.
Yeah. What I tend to advise people who are looking for a deal is to basically start their own label and pursue it as a joint venture deal, because that will give you the most leverage in that situation. What you really need labels for now is mostly just distribution and budget for marketing, and just basically utilizing their resources. But again, if you don't have real access to an A&R that's fighting on your behalf, or like someone at least that's close to you that like is really advocating for you within the building in each department, it's just really easy for you to get overlooked in most situations. So you gotta really just be on top of your business. Like, you can't sit down and wait until they, like, you have to give them reasons to like pay attention to you, even after you sign a deal. Like, it's all good and gravy. They'll tell you the whole spiel and get you excited that you part of the family, and then you won't hear shit until you just bug the hell out of them. So, and I see it all the time. I see it within my department. I see it on other departments. So, and I hear it from the artists. I love hearing their point of view and just like how their experience has been, because I kind of work both sides of it. I work for a label. I also work with independent artists and independently. So I can have the ability to kind of see both sides. And I want to understand both sides to better serve both sides.
Yeah. Now, I actually met Bobby Sessions at your event you held here in Dallas for Coco Jones, the private.
That was your first time meeting him?
That was my first time meeting Bobby Sessions.
Okay.
Like, I knew about Bobby Sessions, but I wasn't 100% familiar with everything he's done. Like, I didn't know he won a Grammy for
Savage.
For Savage. I did not know that. Shout out to Bobby Sessions, by the way. But like you said, I feel like the light wasn't really just shined on him, like, for us to know that. Like, even though I am a blogger, don't get me wrong, it's definitely my fault for not knowing that. That's my bad. I dropped the ball with that one. But like, I want to salute him because like that's huge. Like, he has a record with Beyonce. And he's here from Dallas. Like, he's right here in the city. Like, that's huge. So I want to commend you as well, for everything that you do. But why, like, him being the established artist now, like, it still seems like he's still fighting for, the shine. Like, is it accurate? Like, so it's just like you just never stop? It's like you got to keep going once you're signed? Yes.
Bobby's had a really interesting journey with the label. And I don't know how much I'm really privy to say in this situation, but I think him and his team have approached him in a different way that's like not as traditional as you would think. But, he's had a lot of really dope wins. He wrote a record for The Hate You Give, or the title track for The Hate You Give. And he was also the main theme song for the Coming to America 2. So there's a lot of things that people don't know that he's done that's been really like incredible. I think him and his team, like, they make moves, in a really interesting way to make sure that he's set up. But, I still think that he has more to give. Like,
For sure.
Yeah. I actually, Bobby was one of the first artists I worked with in the scene. Like, I was there on his very first show, and he had this really amazing run in the city where he really positioned himself, like, as, like, he was doing a lot of big shows in Deep Ellum and kind of the leader of a movement that was happening. And then when he got the deal with Def Jam, that was a really big deal in itself too. But I know that, again, it's just between his team, shout out to High Standards. They're and that's the same label that Coco is under as well,
sure.
too.
And Trey Haggerty. Shout out to Trey Haggerty.
Trey Haggerty as well. So they've kind of really shown how it's done in the sense of signing a joint venture deal with a major label and how that could create opportunities and positioning. But I think they wanted to get him situated on the business side of things and just keep developing him as an artist and kind of take, the slow but consistent game
Nah,
with
for sure.
him.
I mean,
So,
sometimes the behind the scene money is better anyway.
that part.
Now, you said you watched the city grown. Like a lot of people, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of artists when I say this. Like a lot of people feel like Dallas is overlooked when it comes down to music and talent. When we have a lot of talent, but are we really overlooked, or are we just not utilizing our resources? I want to know your perspective.
I think because we're not utilizing our resources, that's why we get overlooked. So I think they go hand in hand in most cases. So I feel like, okay, so the bulk of my career within this city has happened over the last 10 years, and I've seen 2 phases of it grow. So when I first got in the scene, I was a part of a really I would say there was a Renaissance movement happening at the time. There was a lot of artists coming out. There was a lot of events going on, and scenes like Deep Ellum were really thriving and music concentrated. You had companies like Red Bull doing really cool events and showcases to highlight music artists. And something happened within that 5 years where it kind of shifted into a new model and new scene. And I think there's new artists coming out of that. But the biggest thing that Dallas lacks right now as far as our music industry is just infrastructure. That's the thing I kind of preach on the most. And I try to play my part and do my part, but I'm also only one person. So
for sure, I definitely agree with you on that. But it's I feel like certain people just don't know who they need to talk to. They just don't know. We don't have a community of people just spreading the word.
For sure.
I could be wrong, but
no, you're right.
But I feel like if you know, some people do know. I feel like people who really know the music business, everybody's here. You see the same people over and over again.
Yeah,
if you know,
absolutely.
once you know, I feel like you know.
Yeah. Sometimes Dallas has to get hit by the head, and it needs to Dago in front of you for you to understand it, which I feel like that's just not smart. If you really want to be in this business, you got to be a student of the game. I've been in it, 15 plus years now, and I'm still a student of the game. So I think it was me seeking out certain people and certain knowledge that really helped me gain traction and be able to thrive in this situation. But I've always done my part and help curate workshops and conferences and different, events to help educate artists. But yeah, they really got to go out and seek it. There's a lot of people in this city and industry that are doing really big things and can help you gain knowledge up. I do feel like sometimes people might gatekeep and
let's talk about it. Why do you feel like that? And when you say gatekeep, what's your meaning of that?
Just might be more selective or segmented in who they give opportunities to. It's very cliquish in some senses.
For sure. That's definitely Dallas. But it's everywhere though.
Yeah.
Not just here. It's everywhere. But I feel like here it's easier because a lot of people just don't know. But like you said, it's your fault. If you're not studying what's going on, because the flyers are still getting posted. The information is out there to get. It's just people don't know. That's why I'm glad you came and sat down with me on Dallas Global so we can, get the people familiar with your face. Now tell us about your marketing agency. What artists are you guys working with right now that we need to look out for, and also what can you guys do to help take an artist to the next level?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we've been very consistent as far as just helping develop artists and help them, promote their work and help them understand a lot of the ground building aspects of building a career in the music industry. I would say 60 to 70% of our clients tend to be music artists or music industry organizations or entities, and then the other 30% could be a mixture of all kinds of things. We don't just work in music. We work in fashion. We work in, we've done a lot of things in sports, gaming and, working with restaurants. Like, we really like to challenge ourselves and work across the board, but we try to find, like, our key skill set is within entertainment and events and, working with the media. So our agency offers a variety of services. I would say one of the core ones is public relations, media relations, helping people get on blogs, television, radio, any really media platform you can think of, social media sites, the new news forum.
For sure. Not to cut you off, but let me ask you, because you brought it up.
Okay.
How do you feel about like blogs? I feel like blogs are really kind of taking over the social media aspect of things. Like, how do you feel like it's easier for artists to get more exposure through blogs, or do you feel like it's still more lucrative for artists to go to radio? Or me personally, I feel like it all matters, but I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think blogs are easier and more supportive personally. Like, usually with radio, like if you could land a radio interview, you're probably only getting, if you're lucky, 3 to 5 minutes of airtime to be able to kind of like talk about your project. So it's very like soundbite, like real quick, and it's that day. Like sometimes they'll repost it on their website or social media, but for the most part, like you got to catch it that day. Of course, the look might be good because people recognize, the radio station's name, and if you're good enough, they'll play your record on the radio station. But most of the time, it's just that one day as well too, unless you're getting like several requests. And that's another thing. There's a lot of misconceptions on how radio works, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's definitely a whole nother conversation. But recently I just really found out how radio really works. Mm-hmm. And my mind was blown because it's really so simple, but it's not at the same time. And I feel like radio is like the corporate world of the entertainment industry. So you definitely need good relationship with everybody at the radio, artists watching this. Make sure you keep those relationships good with the radio people because they are important and it's very corporate. Yeah. Now, what do you like most? Like, do you like working with artists more fashion? What's your what makes you the happiest?
I really like producing events because I think that's where I get to show my creativity the most. And I kind of just I like sitting in that leadership role and like directing things, and bringing a concept to life is really exciting. I love events because it's an opportunity to bring a lot of people to the forefront. Like with social media really taking over, like people less and less, other than like going to the clubs, which I feel like are so interpersonal, aren't really connecting. And like with events and experiences, that's still an opportunity to organically get face to face, feel that human energy and like really connect and stay inspired. So I love being a part of, the few groups of curators out here who are still like, stay true to that, that mission, and I love doing events. Working with artists is something I love as well too. I go back and forth on it because sometimes I call it a glorified babysitting job because a lot of people don't know how much you really have to walk an artist. They really start in the infancy stages in some aspects with this industry with how much they don't know that goes into it, and then really kind of like walking them through it and coaching them and seeing them like catch a stride. Like recently, I'm working with this new artist named Vex. He's an exciting kid in like the alt hip hop, melodic hip hop space, and he's done some things for himself. He's super young. He just turned 17, but I just recently got him on a tour with one of his like artists that he's like really looks up to. His name is Dom Corleo. And then we backdoored and just booked him another show on the 22nd with Big Baby Gucci. So honestly, these are artists, like, no offense, I've never personally heard of, but like for someone like him, he's super excited about it, and getting to see him, like he just did a Texas run with them and, go city to city, get his whole tour prepared, like coach him through that whole process was like, really rewarding, like just to be able to provide that for somebody and to know that there's very few people who know how to get on the phone and get these artists booked on tours and like coach them through that system. Like it just makes me happy to be one of the people that can contribute to that and do that for an artist.
Yeah, no, that's definitely lit. Like seeing an artist blossom into the star that they know they could be, that you believe them to be, is definitely rewarding. Now, moving forward, like what can we expect from you? Like, what do you got coming next, and what's some of your goals that you want to accomplish before the year's over?
That's a really good question. So we have a lot going on up until the end of the year. So currently, we're working right now on a big series of events that's happening next week from the 15th to the 17th. It's called Afrima. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
I'm tell you, put me on it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, so a lot of people don't know this, but one of the biggest award shows in the African music space actually happens here in Dallas. And
in Dallas, Texas.
In Dallas, Texas. It's super legit. It's a super huge, amazing production that's actually really reputable in the African music space. And
so, like, when you say the African music space, are you talking about like Afrobeat? Like,
yeah,
we talking about
Afrobeats.
Wizkid?
Yep. Yeah.
Damn.
Like all the genres in African music. There's a lot of genres now that exist. So they represent multiple genres from, I don't know how to pronounce it. Piano is one of the new ones. And then, there's African rap as well as Afro beats and all kinds of things. So it's really cool. They're actually celebrating their 10-year anniversary. They've been doing their thing for a really long time. And it's going to be a huge weekend of things. So we got a welcome party at the Garden on the 15th. And then on Saturday, we have a fashion show where they're showcasing 12 really cool African designers at 5 a.m. theater, and then it leads to the awards show at the Dallas Symphony Center. So, yeah.
I'm the media. Why don't I know about this?
Well, I'm inviting you right now
okay,
to that. But I think it would be great for you to be there,
I'll definitely be there.
Okay.
I'll definitely be there. But now, let's talk about relationships, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize, it's not even just in music, but relationships get you in doors that a lot of other things can't. It's just not about what you know, it's who you know and how they feel about you. So, like, what advice would you give people, that maybe want to do what you do, and like they get motivated by this interview, and now they want to do events and help artists? Like, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah. Honestly, I built my whole career off of relationships. Like, I would not be where I'm at if I didn't learn how to be good at that. And I never thought I'd be this person who had like so many like people that they work with and know, but it's honestly been such a special experience just to be able to meet and like connect with so many people within this industry. But when I first got in the scene, I was producing these bi-monthly showcases, and I had to book between 50 to 60 artists every other month for this showcase in order to like meet my quota essentially. So I think that was a big boot camp for me in learning how to build relationships, because not only was I booking with these artists, I was dealing with their teams and having to deal with the venues and the press and brands and all of that. And relationships is so important. Like, I've really learned that, just be kind to everybody as much as possible. And, if there's a way that I always preach about mutually beneficial relationships, because a lot of people approach.
Say that one more time.
Mutually beneficial relationships.
Preach.
Because a lot of people just approach a relationships like, what can you do for me? What can I get out of it? Just very selfish minded, and you're not really going to get anything out of that. So I always, preach and lead in that aspect of like, I actually really like to lead with the person, like, take the time to look into them, like what moves them, what motivates them, what drives them, and like try to find that connection point and be a person of service in any capacity to what they're doing. And it's led to a ton of blessings. You never know what little or big relationship will come into play at any point in your career. So I think like I said, just being kind to people, always connecting, always paying it forward in some capacity, and the blessings will just come fruitful forward. And it's definitely like, I'm a huge testimony to that.
Amen. Now, if somebody wants to contact you, book you, whatever they need to do, before I say that, do you have any events coming up
Yeah.
You personally, like let us know.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna get to that. So one of our signature events that we do as an agency is we actually have this fashion show that we do twice a year called Emerge. It's a fashion and music experience.
Did you do one this year already at
I did.
Where was it at?
Vivo?
The club?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Were you there?
I didn't come, but I was invited. But
Yeah.
I was out of town.
Okay. Well, you'll have to come to this next one.
For sure.
It's definitely growing to be a really exciting movement. It's kind of us staying true to what we do best, which are these really cool fusion, multi-genre art experiences. So we usually feature between 10 to 12 designers, a mixture of streetwear and couture. It's a really high energy show, and we usually like to highlight about 5 to 6 up-and-coming music artists as well too. So
okay, that's dope.
We really curate a vibe.
Where's it going to be this year?
The next one is also at Vivo on November 12th.
Okay, same place.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's lit. I seen it, the after effects. It definitely looked like a dope event.
Thank you.
And when I seen the flyer, I said, damn, I know her. But damn, I'm definitely gonna make it this one. And when is it?
November 12th.
November 12th.
Yeah.
Okay, that's coming up soon.
We just announced it. Tickets are available. So
Okay.
if you like to experience new things, I would highly suggest this event.
Yeah, if you're a fashion designer, if you're an up and coming fashion designer, you want to network, you want to meet people, this is definitely where you need to be.
Yes.
So, moving forward, like, will you ever get your own artist?
That's a good question. Like, you keep asking questions I get a lot, which is funny. So I have a weird standpoint when it comes to management. I get pulled into management just like off of like, again, I'm just one of those type of people who just wants to step up in any situation to help where I can. But a lot of times it like spreads me really thin. But one thing that I've realized about management is that you got to have something to manage, and you have to be open and willing to be managed. And I think, down the line, I do have like visions of possibly starting a label or more of like a development house type of agency. And I think I would want to explore management then. But management, there's a lot that goes into management.
Man.
You really got to be there for your artists like 24/7. And you also got to have money to put behind them. And, as much as
I mean, do you? Because, like, I keep seeing interview, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I just watched the interview with TQ, Boosie's brother. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with everything they've been having going on as far as they artists, but a lot of managers, and also I heard Rainwater say this as well, that it's not the manager's job to fund their artist career.
Well, somebody got to do it. So a lot of the times it's a manager. If you're lucky, you could find an outside investor, or take out a loan or something. But I say that because, I would say a manager's job is to also help find the money if it's not there. So a lot of managers, if they have the money, they'll put it behind them. For me, I know that money makes things move, and it stops a lot of things if you don't have it. So I wouldn't want to go into a situation unless the money was there in some capacity, or I had it to put against the artist, and not
sure.
at that stage yet.
This is my last question. I'm sorry, I keep saying it's my last question, but I looked at your marketing agency, and I see you working with Carissa Cruz. Mm-hmm. Dope artist.
Yes.
Shout out to Trey. Shout out to Republic. How did that come about?
Again, it's just like, luckily, I'm just like, my name precedes itself in a lot of areas, and I'm one of the few people who do what I do in this city. And I had built a relationship with Russell, his partner, several years ago with another artist that he worked with. And so when they were developing Carissa, they just, thought of me and reached out.
Yeah, for sure. I like her music. She dope. I feel like she's gonna be a big star in Dallas.
Yes, I'm excited. She has a lot of new music and visuals coming out, and she's definitely a good example of getting the right team of people who believe in you and want to put money behind you. So she has all the right elements right now to grow and develop into something really big.
Nah, for sure. Now, signing off, let the people know where they can follow and find you, and if they want to do business with you, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So me personally, you can catch me on IG. Just my name, Sarah with an H, Badran. My company is at Creative Currency, and we also have Emerge DFW. So if you're wanting to be involved in the show, those are IG is really the best way, or email. But I actually am a little more responsive on IG DMs than anything.
Than the
So
emails
that's
these
really
days.
where a lot of the music business is going down nowadays. It's down in the DMs. So you'll be surprised. I've been able to connect with some pretty big people just based off the DMs. So I'm pretty accessible personally. So yeah, reach out to me. I'm always looking to meet new people and connect and see how I could help.
No, for sure, for sure. I appreciate you coming all the way down here. You know, you said an hour of traffic, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is not gonna be our last time. Also, like, if you have any artists you wanna, stop by, definitely reach out. One more thing.
Sure.
This is the last thing. The Coco Jones event.
Yeah.
Like, was that all you like hot? What was the? Because I seen it was like not just. It was a barrage of things. So what all went on that night?
So that was a collaboration between Def Jam and K104.
Okay.
So yeah, and High Standards, a music label. So High Standards has a joint venture deal with Def Jam, and they just wanted the opportunity to. I've kind of like created this new like lane with these like media influencer dinners in the city that has been of value to these labels, and I enjoy doing them. And again, it's just an opportunity for artists to come in and like, it's important for them to meet the people who are like helping influence and push their record. So this is something I definitely want to continue to do and grow. And we do have several artists actually coming down the pipeline who we're gonna do it for. So definitely keep you posted and in the loop with those.
Okay, for sure. And signing off. I appreciate you for pulling up, and we definitely go do it again.
Thank you for having me.
Mario good.